really quickly say, like, I don't know what your problem is. You need to just get out of this funk that you're in, whatever. She was just always really honest with me. She's still like that. So I think just surrounding yourself with people that you know are going to be honest with you and not allow you to give up, especially when they know that this is your dream and your passion that you want to pursue.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hearne on the Map with Jamaica Deshawn. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm very fortunate to be introducing this person who I went to high school with. She is the owner of Desi's Magic Oven. She also studied baking and pastry arts at the Art Institute of Austin. She also graduated from Hearne High School in 2012. Whoop, whoop. She is none other than the Desiree Gomez.
Hi.
Hey, Desiree, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for asking me. I'm excited.
All right. So pretty much we start off on Hearne on the Map is like, what is your Hearne background? What was it like growing up in Hearne for you?
I think it was, pretty good growing up in Hearne. I enjoyed it being such a small town because I feel like you're able to make more connections with it being so small. And I just have a lot of memories that I feel like you can't get so much of that in a bigger town, like getting to know like your neighbors and things like that. So
I love that. What was one of your favorite places to go or things to do in Hearne growing up?
I do have a memory that it has always stuck with me. Again, it goes back to, it being a small town. So when I was like 7, all the neighborhood kids would come over to our house and we would just get a big blow up pool and put it in the front yard. And we would all like cram in there together because I think we were the only ones with a swimming pool, even though it was cheap and from like the dollar store. But that's one of my favorite memories. I always remember being able to do that, like having all the neighborhood kids come over and all cram in the pool together and eat popsicles during summertime. That's one of my favorite memories. And I always tell that to people when I'm talking about like growing up in Hearne and stuff.
Yes, no, I remember that exactly. We used to have a pool at my granny's place, and like sometimes when we would get in, like all of my friends around the corner, neighbors, cousins would come over and we would all jump in. So
Yeah.
I definitely remember those summer memories. So I want to ask you, like, what do you do now? Like, how did you get from graduating Hearne High in 2012 to what Desiree is doing right now?
So I graduated in 2012. I decided to go to the Art Institute. And I did that the following year in January of 2013. And so I didn't graduate. I ended up dropping out just because of, a lot of mental health issues I was having, things like that. But I also, that's why I try not to push college so much on people because I felt like it just wasn't for me. And I feel like it's not for everyone. And I feel like if it wouldn't have been so pushed on me, like through other people, like, oh, you need to go to college, I probably would have I feel like I would have started my business sooner and that could have expanded quicker rather than, going and trying it and then ended up dropping out to begin with, But yeah, so right now, all I do is my business. So before I was doing this, I was at Christopher's for the last 2 years, which is a fine dining restaurant here in town. So I was a pastry chef there. And so about a year ago, I felt like I wanted to.
Is that in Bryan?
Yes, it's in Bryan.
Okay, in Bryan. Okay.
So about a year ago, I felt like I wanted to leave there, and not for any bad reason. It was amazing there. I worked with amazing people, but I've always wanted my business to be what I did full time. But I kind of backed out, and so I just stayed there because I just didn't think I could do it. And so I kept working there, and I kept learning, and I grew a lot while I was there. And then this past year, in March, my grandpa passed away. And so that's what just kind of made me realize, like, your last day could literally be any day. And I just couldn't keep putting my business on the back burner just because I was scared that I would fail. And so I decided right then and there, I emailed them and I went in and I, told them how I was feeling, and they were completely supportive of me. They did tell me, like, I always had a place there. Like, I always, if I needed a job, I could go back. So I left on really great terms. And so, yeah, so now since April, technically, I've been doing this full time. So, and it's been pretty scary. There's some times where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I didn't make as much as I made last month, or, oh, this time I made more. But that's just, I guess, what you kind of deal with it when you're, trying to run your business and things like that. So, but yeah, so that's how I am here now.
Yes, Desiree. That's what I really appreciate about your story is that even though you didn't finish college, you still went and you still stayed focused on your goals. And I think that led you to exactly to where you were.
Yeah.
When did you decide that you wanted to be a business owner?
So I've always known that I've always liked baking. I've been baking since I was like 3, honestly. I don't think it was until I went to school that I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to work for someone. I think I want this to, I think I want to own this. I think I want to be able to have employees and be able to create jobs for them. So I think it wasn't until I went to school that I, and I did. I did enjoy some parts of school, but I just think the whole experience, I don't know if it's that it wasn't for me. I think maybe at the time my mental health just wasn't where it needed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So like it was in your experience of living in Austin and going to school that kind of compelled you to believe that you could create a business for your own.
Yes.
Create opportunities for others. Well, that brings me to actually, so I remember reading this morning when I was preparing for this interview. I saw that you had an interview with the Great Society blog.
Oh, yes.
That your classmate runs. And you said something about why practice is important, because you said on the weekends you would go home and you would practice because you saw that other people weren't doing that. And then I also saw a point that you said surrounding yourself with people you trust completely and being open to like constructive criticism. Can you talk a bit about like what that experience was like for like why is practice important as a person that's like a baker or in the culinary arts?
I think practice is important because I think we focus so much on perfection and not enough on progress. And so for me, I just, like I said, I noticed because when I was in school, we had a kit that we received. And I was the only one who ever took mine home. Everyone else left it at school. And so it just kind of made me think, like, if they're not practicing, how are they getting better? And I would see that in their work at school. And so I just knew that that's something I needed to do. I needed to go home and I needed to practice on things. So I would like print out recipes and like bake certain things.
You were doing homework.
Yeah.
Outside of school. Is like, how are you going to learn how to perfect your craft when you're not doing it outside of the school setting?
Yes, exactly. And that has shown, because I've seen, like, sometimes, like, your memories will pop up and I see certain pictures I posted on Facebook and I'm like, oh my gosh, who paid for that? Like, it looks terrible. But, I think at the time I thought it looked great, but you don't realize like how much better you've gotten over the years because you're constantly working at it.
That's good. That's good. It's like we have to trust the process.
Yes.
Right? Trust the process and the journey.
And I had a big issue with that. I am not a patient person at all, but honestly, baking and doing this has taught me complete patience, because with some things you have to be patient. Like when I was at Christopher's bread making, that's something where you have to be so patient with. You just can't rush the process. And so it's honestly taught me in my life with decisions and things like that. You have to trust the process and you have to be patient. So
ooh, that's a word. Trust the process and be patient. I like that. You kind of already touched on this, Desiree. One thing that I like asking people about is like, what are the obstacles that people face? You know, we can talk about all the great things, and you've been talking on a bit about mental health and how that affected your time at the Art Institute. How did you overcome that period of your life? You went back home. What helped you get back on in alignment with where you are to get to where you are right now, if that makes sense?
Honestly, I think it was my family. They're just very honest with me, and just, you know, tell me what I need to hear. I have a friend, Brisha, also. She is very, very honest with me. If I would text her and like, oh, I quit, I don't want to do this anymore, she would really quickly say like, I don't know what your problem is. You need to just get out of this funk that you're in, whatever. She was just always really honest with me. She's still like that. So I think just surrounding yourself with people that you know are going to be honest with you and not allow you to give up, especially when they know that this is your dream and your passion that you want to pursue.
That's good. I love how you talked about your family and your friends, because you know, sometimes when you're dealing with things, you don't have people to go to talk about like mental health issues.
Yeah.
But what you had is like, you have friends who you can be honest with, that listen to you, and then they continue to push you to going on the path that you wanted to be on. Good. I love that. So well, my last question is, how might someone get to where you are? Let's say there's somebody in 6th grade in Hearne about to go to junior high, and eventually in the future they want to be a Desiree Gomez owning their own bakery.
So I think I would just say, obviously, college, I mean, the Art Institute, they helped me grow a lot while I was there. I would suggest that, going to a culinary school, but I also, I feel like if that's something, if they're wanting a college experience, I would go to a culinary school. But if not, I mean, with these days, with like YouTube out there and the internet, there's so much you can learn yourself. And that's one thing I noticed is, while I was in school, was there was a lot that you would go home and still have to learn a lot on your own.
All right, so we're going to go to the next session of this conversation, which is the Fast Five. I'm going to ask you a series of 5 questions that I didn't tell you what they are before this moment, and you can answer them however you would like. You can answer it in a short way, long way, it doesn't matter. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So my first one is, what is your favorite dessert and why?
This is funny me saying this now, but decorated cookies. I used to struggle with those so badly. They used to look horrible. And then I just gave up and I said, nope, we're not offering these. Like, they're just too hard to make. And now that's one of like what everyone wants. And that's one of my popular items now that I make, is the decorated cookies.
Decorating those cookies. We had some of her cookies too at homecoming this past season. So y'all definitely check out her cookies. Number 2, who was your favorite teacher and why?
I touched on this already, but Miss Nelson, I first met her, I believe, in 6th grade. And then she became one of my teachers at 7th grade. And when I met her in 7th grade, every year after that, I made sure I was in one of her classes. So she was my teacher for that long. And she just became more like a second mother to me, honestly. It was funny because when I was in school, I wasn't bad. I'm not saying I was, but every now and then I would get in trouble for talking too much or something. And by the time I went to her class, she already knew about it. And I'm like, well, who called you? Why are these teachers calling you? But it was so funny. But yeah, she was always encouraging me to go after my dreams, and she still does that. We've gone out to dinner a couple times. You know, she's told me to make a vision board, which I did. A couple years ago, I did one. And then after she mentioned, she read about a vision board. And so she's like, y'all, she told me and Brescia that we both needed to make one. And so we did. And it was funny because it was that same year that I made one that I got like my vehicle that I posted on the vision board. And I was like, maybe this works. But yeah, she's amazing, and she's just so sweet and supportive, and I love her so much.
I'm gonna try not to cry. That's amazing. What type of teachers that we have that like the other teachers let another teacher know so they can like make sure they're putting you in
Yeah.
line. That's amazing. For you and Miss Nelson to have a relationship like that after all these years. And I can attest to everything that you said, because all throughout my years of, I'm related to Miss Nelson, but even at school, it was Miss Nelson, and she still was a teacher that constantly poured into me and everyone, like everyone in her class, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she also, go ahead.
Oh, and I think that goes to show too, that when it's different when you're a teacher from Hearne. I just feel like you make more of a connection with the students just because you are from Hearne and you know almost what they go through because you've probably gone through it yourself. And so I think that's too helped a lot with how she was able to connect with so many of her students.
Yeah, that's so true. I think Ms. Nelson is from Franklin, but she's been living in Hearne my entire life, as long as I can
that's
remember.
what she mentioned that to me as well.
I'll give a shout out to Franklin. Actually, my family is from Franklin as well, so Franklin is on the map as well. Also, and also like even as an adult, like every time I see Ms. Nelson, she's like, "What are you doing?" Like, I had this feeling about you, Jamichael, about this specific thing. She's always encouraging me, and like, I feel you. Miss Nelson she's a great teacher, and we send the shout out to her right now. Number 3, what's the biggest key to being a successful business owner?
Honestly, I think not looking at everyone else and just focusing on yourself. I think comparison is like the biggest like joy stiller. I think when you compare yourself to others, especially others in your field, you'll start to be negative of your own work.
That's a word. That is a word. Can we just like take that in right now? Because we can all use it. Don't compare ourselves to anyone in whatever field in life in general.
Yeah.
Like we all have different journeys. No, I really appreciate that. That's right. I'm going to take that myself. The note on it. That's good. Number 4, what is one way you hope to grow in 2022?
One way I hope to grow is hopefully having a storefront, whether that be something small. I don't mind how small it is. It's just that's what my goal is. And I did make that my goal for 2022. I'm like, nope, I have to be in something by 2022. So I am working towards that now. I'm trying to get like grants and things like that. With me being a first-time business owner, and there's a lot of grants that I can probably qualify for. So I've been looking around and hopefully, the right doors will open for me. So that's just been my prayer.
Yes. Well, I am sending all of the love and support that I can give to help you make that happen in the new year. And I hope that God like continues to be all in through it and you get exactly what you're looking for. That's beautiful. My last question is, what was your favorite moment? This is number 5. What was your favorite moment from your 10-year class reunion?
Honestly, it was the panel. It was like here's why, because I almost told you no. When you asked me, I almost said no because I'm not used to speaking in front of people and it makes me nervous. And so I was like, oh, what if I say the wrong thing? I don't know what to do. But just getting there and I don't know, seeing their faces and seeing that they actually wanted to hear what we said. I don't know. It's like something came over me because I was not nervous at all. And I just like, was honest and, I think that was my favorite part because I still like it's been months, but I still like go around telling people like about it. So it was pretty cool.
Yes, Desiree, I was so grateful for the way that you came and you showed up and you delivered on that panel. Like even with talking with the principal afterwards, Dr. Hill, like you just said some things that literally shifted the conversation and just became honest for everybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like you brought so much value and were a key asset to making that a success. And I honestly hope that we can return again or do something in the future for it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, that anytime you need me, I'm there. It was great. I love being there. So
yes. Well, thank you so much. So my last question outside the Fast Five is, if you can give one shout out to someone who you also think is putting Hearne on the map, they can either be living in Hearne or also living in other parts of the world, who would that person be?
I knew you mentioned this question, and as soon as you asked it, I already knew who I was going to talk about. And it's Janique. I see her stuff all the time on Facebook, and she is amazing. And anytime someone's looking for something that she does, I'm like tagging her, because like I said, I've never even like used her services because I haven't had a reason to yet, but I'm just waiting. I'm like, okay, as soon as I need something, I'm going to use like her services. But she's amazing. She does really, really great work. And you can tell that she puts like her all into it. So.
Ooh, shout out to Janique. I have seen her work all over social media. She was in high school. We were in high school as well. I think she was a senior when you were in school, I believe.
I think she was out of high school by the time I got there.
I know she's 2 years older than me. But anyway, Janique, shout out to you. We love your work. Keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully we can have a conversation with you on Hearne on the Map in one of our seasons. Thank you for that. That was a good shout out. Yeah. Well, Desiree, we've gotten to the end of the conversation. And first, I just want to tell you thank you for being here. And is there a way that people can learn more about your business or follow you? What social media handles? Can you share that with us today?
Yeah, so all of my social medias on Facebook, it's Desi's Magic Oven, as well as Instagram. It's Desi's Magic Oven. Just search that and you should find me. I don't have a website yet. I'm working on that now because I am starting to get a lot more busy. And so I feel like a website is really needed right now. So I'm working on that. But yeah, for sure, we have an Instagram and a Facebook page.
Good. So y'all, thank you, Desiree. Do me a favor, go and like her page on Facebook. Go follow her on Instagram. If you see her post something. I sound so country right now. Share it. Yes. Send it to your people. Buy something, purchase something. Let's help her get her business as a storefront in 2022. Desiree, thank you again. You're friend, welcome. I'm a classmate, but we went to school together.
Yeah.
My future collaborator. I'm wishing you so much love and support, and thank you for putting Hearne on the map.
Well, same to you. I enjoyed being.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching Hearne on the Map with Michael Deshawn. If you can do me a favor, like the video, leave a comment below, subscribe, or share it on your favorite social media platform. Hearne on the Map.